That's the way to start.
Yeah, ring a bell, Andy.
Oh, easy.
Don't know about you fellas. I'm quite looking forward to this one tonight. I think it's going to be a good laugh.
I think it's going to be hilarious. I can't wait to hear Andy's stories. He's got the most.
Yes.
It's important to start this pod on the right tone. So just if you're listening at home, we just want to get the message across early on that we do not advocate dangerous or silly driving or just generally behaving like a dick on the road. The whole reason we're doing this was actually a conversation that began off talking about police car 911s in the Dutch and Belgian police force, which we'll get onto later in the pod. Mm-hmm. But it's just about having a bit of a laugh at the moment. Things are quite crap out there. We're all being told to stay indoors. There's a virus going on.
Is it?
There's a Brexit deal which isn't happening, and it's all a little bit pants. So we just wanted to have a bit of a light-hearted episode, didn't we? And just relive some past memories.
Good stories from youth.
From youth, yes, exactly that.
It was a long, long time ago.
Yeah, it was. It was. But it all come around from talking about police or official police 911s, wasn't it, Andy?
It was, yeah.
I think that you brought it up. So had your eye on one, have you?
No.
Only coming up from behind.
Yeah. One's had your eye on you.
See enough blue lights. Don't want them on my own.
The red lights, mate, that's for sure. Yeah, so... what do we know about police 911s then? They're quite
a little read up earlier, and that the Belgian and Dutch police had targas of all things.
Yes.
And it was so they could stand out
and direct traffic.
Traffic.
Really? Was that
bizarrely?
Yeah. And they have become highly collectible.
There's quite a lot of them, weren't there? 300, 400, 500 of them?
507, according to the internet, about 10 minutes before this pod. But, we've featured some of the cars way back when in Total 911. Could do a digging that out maybe and putting it online. But yeah, 507 for a mixture of the Dutch and Belgian police force. Some of the cars, have been sold on since to private collectors. Some cars have actually been given back to Porsche after service, like officially retired. Yeah. There has actually been a couple of cars given to the German police force as well.
And I read Austria have got one, at least a 991.
Yeah.
And
is this in current service?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And New South Wales in Australia have got a 911.
Really? Yeah.
That they parade out.
Oh, imagine that, trying to grab the keys for the car at the start of the shift, and it's between a 911 or some, clapped out Ford Focus over here, isn't it? You really wouldn't want the short straw of the Focus, would you?
I wonder if any have actually been used in the UK.
It's a really good question. We'll
Probably
have to
not. Some dodgy Jag instead.
Yeah, it really would be, wouldn't it? Yeah, some old Rover Metro.
on how much they have to fettle them to make them into a police car. Is it just some sticks blue lights on, or do you have to put them apart?
I mean, to be honest, from the couple I've seen, they're hilarious because you've got this big old light kind of protruding up from the Targa roll bar, haven't you? There's a genuine loudspeaker chucked on the front.
Whip aerial.
Yes, yeah, it really is. I can't remember what else is on there, to be honest.
I think I read that they had 2.7 RS engines in them.
The 210 horsepower MFI engine. Yeah. It would make sense as it was the quickest of the time. Because this thing, it was a 70s, 80s sort of thing. Yeah. There were some long hood police cars, but then there were some G-bodies as well. So, that would make good sense. I mean, there's not too much that could keep up with people on the autobahns and whatnot, was it? So, it was a good shout. But yes, it has. It's inspired us to tell some tales of our own accounts with our very good friends in the law and other authorities.
Authoritas.
Who wants to go first then, chaps, with reliving some...
I think the person with the biggest list should get one out of the way, surely.
Shall I go for one of my earliest memories?
Yeah, go on.
Well, I'll take you back to 1987.
Oof.
So I'm a spotty 17-year-old. Not yet got a full driving licence. It was actually meant to be the day I was going to get my full driving licence.
Oh.
It was the day of my test, but unfortunately the examiner was taken ill, and so I didn't get to do my test. I was really pissed.
Yeah, imagine.
I'm this spotty 17-year-old that's an absolute little petrol head and wants his driving licence, and that opportunity has been taken away from me. So I get on my CG125, Honda CG125, and go for a burn around the local streets and sort of drive off for about half an hour, sort of late evening, September. It's getting dark. Absolutely razzing it around the local sort of South London area, Rains Park, Wimbledon, that sort of area. And been going for about half an hour, and I get home, just pull up onto the driveway. This is my mum and dad's house. It's got black garage doors. It's like, what's that? It's like blue light flashing on the garage door. What? I look round, and there's this old Sherpa van. So that takes you back, and it stopped, came to a screeching halt, and there's just steam coming out of the radiator. So he'd been chasing me apparently for about half an hour. He gets out the van and comes over to me, starts talking to me. Then this mini Metro turns up, and then a Rover SDI. They'd
Full
set
hit squad on you, mate.
the lot were out to get me. And this guy I think he must have been like a local bobby in his Sherpa van, puts his arm on my shoulder, hand on my shoulder, tells the other guys to go away, and says, "Are your mum and dad in, son?" I'm like, yeah, I think so. Go in, open the door, mum and dad, sat down on the sofa with the policeman, and I get the story. And
Really? So what did he do? To effectively pulled your pants down in front of your parents?
He did, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least it was a slap wrist and nothing more. I mean,
Yeah.
Was there anything more?
No, that was it.
Really?
Yeah, I was very, very lucky in that he was a good old-fashioned policeman, I guess.
Yeah.
Gave me a bit of a slap wrist and let me go on my way.
What was the crime?
Just driving like a bit of a
Hooligan
around the local streets, really.
Yeah.
Overtaking cars and
Yeah.
generally on my L plate 125.
Living the dream, yeah.
Yeah.
Fair play. Good policing, you might argue then.
Yeah, absolutely.
So teaching you a lesson rather than just handing you out a fine.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, that's the first one.
That's the
We'll come back to more.
that's fairly modest. I was thinking you did proper bird time. You know?
No, never done bird time.
In terms of a blue light on the drive, a few years ago, here actually, of all places, not that long ago, I had a little Cayman at the time, 981, and it was just pretty standard. Sports exhaust on it, so it's a little bit noisy, but nothing more. And that I literally had a policeman follow me, onto the drive, steam up behind me, and start reading me the riot act on my own driveway, and was basically saying that I was making too much noise. I was like, well, it's how it comes out the box. I wasn't
Really?
and I wasn't speeding. I was probably driving fairly sportingly. But yeah, it was, and he sort of took real offence to it, and sort of was trying to have a pop about something, but couldn't really pinpoint what the problem was.
Seriously, yeah.
And I think it sounds really random. I'd had an Nespresso delivery at work, so I had like an armful of like Nespresso pods, and he was like, "What's all that?" And I was like, "Coffee." And it was just this real like comedy show that unfolded. And he eventually sort of went off, and he's like, "Well, if you do that again, then you'll be in really big trouble." I'm still sort of like, "What have I done? What have I done?"
Seriously, yeah. Oh no,
So,
it's things like that do leave a kind of a bit of a sour taste in the mouth, doesn't it? Really,
that sort of thing does. I think I did. I've still got the number plate, but I have my Joker number plate on the car. I think it doesn't help. That kind of it's a bit of a two fingers up job, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah,
Who's just looking for something?
Yeah, I've had a couple of letters from the local, sort of what do you call it, busybody curtain twitch brigade. There's around here. There's a few where they sort of stand out on corners and just make notes of number plates they don't like. And I've had a couple of those letters through that sort of say that they've been reported to the local whatever.
Oh my word!
And that sort of thing. You must have one of those. Come on,
No. I always drive very responsibly now.
Wow. Yeah. Anything that makes any noise at all, they put on their list.
Really?
Yeah.
That is the thing. In fairness, I mean, I've had a couple of times, particularly in 991s, the first gen naturally aspirated, a little bit more raucous. You'd be plodding through a built-up area, completely, within the speed limit. Sport exhaust might be on, so it's like I say, a little bit more raucous, and you'll have locals kind of
giving you the wave.
Slow down. And it's like, I'm so like within the speed limit, it's ridiculous. I'm being nice and sensible here.
I think the noise gives the illusion of you going fast.
It does, yeah. It's like the noise prevails over like the actual motion of the vehicle, and people kind of think you're taking the mickey. I think the badge on the front of the car as well probably rolls people up the wrong way. But yeah, they kind of see noise as an indication of speed, which isn't actually a...
I'll be interested to see how they get on with these electric cars flying around, because I reckon obviously some of those would be flying around with no noise, but going pretty fast. So that'd be interesting.
Well, this is it. This is why some of the electric cars like have to have some noise, because if you just walking around a kind of town centre, city centre, you're on your phone, stepping out into the road as a passenger, not
just
having
wandering around on your phone.
Well, but some people do. I had a Tesla press car a couple of years ago, and like literally the same thing happened to me. You used to be able in Bournemouth. You used to be able to drive round past the HSBC and like the banks, and then back up onto Richmond Hill, and the exact same thing happened. People are busy on a lunch break, just stepping out into the little road. They can't hear the car coming, so they don't expect to see one. Therefore, they don't look.
Yeah.
And, it's just nearly this collection of people all over a Tesla, basically. So, I get that. I do get that. But I'll give you one of my stories, which...
We're all looking at you, waiting for one.
This was actually last year. So, picture the scene, summer 2019, North Circular in London, the delightful A406. I'm in a midnight blue 964 RS.
Nice.
Driving along, I think the speed limit along there was 40 or 50. I'm poodling along doing said speed limit. I've got a journalist in the car behind me, which is a midnight blue 964 turbo 3.6.
Yeah.
So we're just coming back from a head-to-head shoot that we've done, about to deliver the car back to a Porsche specialist that's named after a shape. And so we're, like I say, just bobbing along, completely obeying the speed limit, no problem whatsoever. I've got trade plates in the window. Sometimes, like, depends on kind of who we work with through the magazine, but some specialists are kind of maybe a little bit more organised than others, and they have like a nice little clip to put on over the license plate or whatever. This car didn't have it, so I've kind of just chopped them into front and back windows. It's not far at all to kind of get from one place to the other, so I kind of thought that would suffice. As I say, bobbing along, that's fine. Police car slowly overtakes us, which again is kind of indicative of the speed I was doing, well within the speed limits. They've kind of just trundled past me, had a little bit of a look at the car and whatever as they went past, which is fine. It's a midnight blue 964 RS, isn't it? And pulls in front of me, and we're driving along probably, I don't know, a mile and a half, which on the A406 takes a fair time, doesn't it? Then I got bluesed, so pulled over.
They've probably done a check on the car.
Well, this is it. So I've jumped out and just been as affable as you can possibly be in these scenarios.
What do you bloody want, mate?
Yeah. But it's you're like, hey there, how you doing? Any case, there's a good cop and a bad cop, and funnily enough, the good cop reminded me of Robert Llewellyn from Scrap Heap Challenge. And just uncanny. It's like it just trying to like.
Did you tell him that
picture here? No, I didn't. No. But yeah, then bad cop looked like Craig Charles from Robot Wars, right? So you've got Robert Llewellyn and Craig Charles.
They were
there.
both in Red Dwarf.
They were. They actually were. So so these guys have kind of come towards me. Good cop Robert Llewellyn. He loves 964 RSs. He's absolutely loving life here. He's telling me, this is while the matey boy's radioing in for the bit I'm about to say, but he's telling me about, he had a picture of these on his wall when he was younger. You know, can he take a picture of it? I'm saying, fill your boots, absolutely fill your boots. Any case, before all of that, Craig Charles has come up to me and said, where's your number plates? And I've gone, yeah.
Craig Charles.
I haven't got number plates. I've got the trade plates. Haven't got number plates.
Oh, it had no number plates on the car.
Had no number plates, yeah. Should have said that from the top, didn't I? But anyway, so that's why they've pulled me over. Fair cop. Totally fair cop. Before I've had a chance to say, no, but I've got the trade plates, which, yes, they're there for tax and registering purposes, but if there's any sort of infringement on cameras, there's a plate, it's traceable and whatnot. That was my rationale. So in any case, Craig Charles, like I say, is spitting feathers from the off anyway. And I've just proceeded to give him every kind of wrong answer to all of his questions. Is this your car? No. Whose car is it? I don't really know. Where are the number plates on this car? I don't really know. I said to him, like, this is, I can appreciate this. This is not really what you want to hear. He said, are you insured? Yes, not a problem. Gave him my details, and he obviously went off to check. This is when I had this cracking chat with Robert Llewellyn about 964 RSs, switching over to 993 RSs, etc. Any case, matey boys come back still absolutely spitting feathers because I am insured. It's all checked out. I can drive the car. And he said, you can't drive anywhere without these number plates. You're trying it on. You're trying it on with me. I said, well, like I say, it's not my car. I don't really know. I'm about a mile from the shape-inspired specialist around the corner. I said, we can have a look for them. I've popped the front, gone in, and I've found these kind of old tin plates that have got like a Monaco. They're Monaco registration plates. Yeah. So I said, I think this is the car. It's left-hand drive. It's not a C16 car. Obviously, went way over Craig Charles' head. And so I said, I found one. I can. I don't really know. How are we going to attach it to the front? Any case, the two of them have gone off, had a chat. The 964 Turbo, by the way, is pulled up behind me. So you've just got these two midnight blue 964s behind this police car. And they've come back. I basically think and would like to think that Good Cop kind of won the day and was basically he's a mile
good
from
Robert.
Where he needs to be.
What a good man Robert is.
It is what it is. So they've come back. Good Cop Robert Llewellyn has said, look, we've pulled you over because you haven't got any license plates. You should have them. We're very happy to kind of let you go. You've explained you're only round the corner. We're happy to accept that. We're happy to accept that you were within the speed limit. So we're quite relaxed about it. And I'm like, oh well, that's one absolute touch. Can't really fault that. Meanwhile, Craig Charles, he's not happy to let it lie. He's checking every single tyre. He's checking the tread on every single tyre because he thinks, well, I'm going to try and do it somehow.
Something, yeah.
Thankfully...
Check the brake
lights. Yeah, the lot. Thankfully, plenty of tread on all four tyres because it's 3 points, isn't it? A corner in this country, as well as a fine. I'm whiter than white. Thank you very much, Craig Charles. And on we went. But it was real good cop, bad cop. And I'm very grateful that...
Rob was there.
Robert Llewellyn won the day, basically. So I was, I love Scrap Heap Challenge. So it's always good to meet your heroes.
Oh, brilliant. I like that. That's good. I think we got one from a listener, but I think he wants to stay anonymous.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Must be bad.
Yeah. If you want to put your headphones in and we'll play it. We'll play it.
Evening all. This is for the guys at Road to Redline. I picked up on a request for anybody that had any blue light stories on Instagram, and so I've got one I'm happy to share with you. Of course, I'm not going to share my name.
I think he's changed his voice.
I am Mr.
It's got a voice changer on.
It's a voiceover.
It does sound like
but
that.
Before I share the story with you, I just wanted to say I think your podcasts are brilliant. I absolutely love them. They're really, really captivating.
How much do we pay for that?
I haven't listened to every one of them just yet.
Thank
but
you. Thank you, Anonymous.
Keep up the good work, boys. It is absolutely great. Really, really good. So my blue light story is not one that I'm particularly proud of, and it's not something I condone for anybody that's going to listen to this, but it goes back a long way, at least 20 years when I was a young man, bit of a punk, and, full of nothing but testosterone and my own self-importance. And at the time, I was the proud owner of a Citroen AX GT. And for me, this was the only reason to save every penny I had to purchase this little French go-kart. Funnily enough, you don't see many of them now. They've probably all been written off, as mine was very nearly on a few occasions.
I wonder how much they're
So
worth now.
my dear late dad had a
Turned to
place
dust.
on the Sandbanks Peninsula, and at the time I was living there in the spare room. So I'm coming home late one night. I had a car full of friends who were invited back to basically carry on the party into the early hours. And I was driving at pace around the bay, heading towards the peninsula. And something that I like to do on many occasions was to go through that mini roundabout close to where the Rick Stein restaurant is now, as quickly as I could, basically cutting the corners and then catapulting out the other side. So I did exactly that, but on this occasion, the police, or a police car, was positioned perfectly on the mini roundabout at the same time as I was, and his blue lights went on. So I had a choice to make, which was to brake and pull over or keep my foot pressed to the floor.
Pin it, boy,
and basically
pin
try and have a- So I chose the second option. And for some reason, I switched off my lights thinking it would be a good idea to help lose them in the chase.
Who hasn't done that before?
Inside the car now was silent, apart from the wail of my little 1.4 French engine giving it the beans down the road. The blue lights were flashing in the distance behind me, and the chase was on. My dad's apartment building was on the left-hand side, and I was getting pretty close to the entrance now. So, judging the braking distance without locking up or squealing the tyres or losing too much distance on the boys in blue was crucial. I hit the anchors and I turned in. As I did that, I picked up the garage door remote opener, clicked it once, hoping it would be ready for me, open and ready for me at the bottom of the drive. It was a bit of a lottery because the battery should have been changed a long time ago, and so sometimes it didn't work. But this time it did, thank goodness. The car still silent, and my friends unsure of what was coming next. I hit reverse and made my way towards the open garage, and at the same time pressed the remote button once again to quickly or close it quickly after me. The door shut and the engine went off. We all sat in silence.
Can you imagine the tension?
Then there was a heavy rumble of a car that was coming down the driveway, and sure enough, it was the Fuzz. They drove around the car park trying to find us for what seemed like an eternity, but in reality it was maybe 30 seconds, and then it made its way out slowly back up the driveway and off into the distance. My mates and I lit up a Marlboro light each in the garage and laughed our heads off about how much of a buzz it was. And then we just carried on into the night like it was just any other Friday or Saturday night. But now, many years later, I am the proud father of two beautiful children, and it's funny how your outlook on life changes in that amount of time. So, for example, today I was found myself driving along the A338 Spur Road at about 67 miles per hour, and thought, yeah, that's fast enough for today.
Excellent. Yeah.
So there we go. That's the story, guys. Luckily, nobody was hurt, and I got away with it on that occasion. But I don't recommend it. But anyway, I hope it's a bit of fun for you, and I'll keep tuning into your brilliant podcast. Thanks ever so much. Bye.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Anonymous.
Fantastic story.
Quite literally, the
Very
one that
well
got away.
told.
That's great.
Extremely well told.
It was very profound as well, especially with like the modern day thing on the 67 mile an hour.
Yes.
It
Yeah.
sounded like it was professionally narrated.
It did, didn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he was using a voice changer.
It was very good.
Yeah,
Yeah, someone
smooth.
that does not want to be does not want to be found.
Yeah.
The thing about the modern day speed, 67 mile an hour, and saying that's plenty enough. I mean, I might butcher the quote here, but isn't it Nigel Mansell? Somebody said to him, kind of what scares you on the public road as a racing driver, and he said people that think they're Nigel Mansell. I think that's kind of fair play. That sort of feeds into that. So thank you, Mr. Anonymous. I think privately we'll try and wager some bets as to who we think that might be.
Yeah.
But, for the benefit of the tape, we've no idea.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's a local story as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Start doing the detective work.
Yeah.
We will find you.
Very good. Very good. Right, we've got any more between us? I'm sure you two have got faces that are riddled with guilt. So
I had a nice soft one once, which
what did you do with it?
edit.
That's all staying in.
The where we? I think M3. I think it was steaming along and not paying too much attention in the old family wagon, and I got blue light pull over, and it was actually a really nice copper, and when someone's just genuinely sort of it was him on his own.
There are
And
plenty of nice ones. I've met a few.
there must be a couple. I mean,
Yeah.
there can be few and far between. Like you normally get good cop, bad cop. Normally
Yeah.
someone's out for something, for blood.
Yeah.
And there's one that's all right. Well, this guy was really, really nice, and he basically turned around and said, I've just clocked you twice. Once at 96 and once at 103.
Oof.
Ooh. Which one would you prefer? he said obviously, the 100 plus, I think, is ban or.
I thought
Yeah,
96 plus is court.
Yeah.
Well,
So
basically, but
something-
anyway, long story short, he said, "Look, he said, I'll give you the 96." And it was just a 3-point job.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah,
So,
okay.
a few years ago, not that long ago, which I thought was quite nice.
Yeah, considering you were only doing 70.
Exactly, exactly, with a broken speedo.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was quite a nice one. And that's but what that did lead me into, which was quite amusing, is I probably used to drive a bit faster than I do now, and probably a little bit too often. But when do they kick off with the whole speed awareness course thing?
Oh God, don't know.
It was in the first few years of that. But long story short is I got a ticket. I basically got a ticket in Hampshire and I got a ticket in Dorset
What, at the same time?
in the same year.
Yeah.
And I think that the whole thing was that you can't do more than one speed awareness course in 3 years. I think the rule is something like that.
Yeah.
You basically can't do them back to back. You can do, I think it's one every 3 years. But anyway, long story short, back then the computers weren't talking to each other. So got two separate things through. I got a course to go and do in Hampshire and Southampton, and I think the Dorset
I didn't book you on the same day.
was in Winfrith. Not the same day. No, didn't book me the same day. But I went and did my Southampton one, which was fine. And I thought, right, fine, no problem. And then when I got another letter through this other one, it said, "Oh, you can go to." I thought, wow, that's a result. Yeah, 2 speed awareness courses. Yeah, pay your money.
It's the same tutor, wasn't it?
No things. I've walked in the front door and the same guy's running it.
Nah, did he recognise you?
Well, I don't know if he recognised me, but I had a fairly nice-ish watch on at the time, and he recognised my watch.
Really?
And he just started like chatting away, and he did a couple of
I know
times.
you,
So
don't
I recognise you from somewhere, and at no point did I have the heart to tell him.
I was here last week, mate.
The other week you were up the road doing it.
Yeah.
Oh, my
What are
God.
those driver awareness courses like? I've never been on one. I'm curious to know, but not that curious, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
tell me.
Prior to that, I went on the elongated version for another offence, that was in my much younger days. Which is that was more of a. Was it a 2 or 3 day version?
Oh wow!
Yeah, it was-
really?
Yeah,
That
that was for a slightly worse misdemeanor. But no, the basic speed awareness. It's actually a really good course. To be fair, I think it's a half day.
Yeah.
So you're in at whatever time in the morning.
Not that I've ever done one, of course.
Yeah, of course not. Yeah, it's tea and biscuits, and you're out by lunch. It's
Right.
yeah.
And you just have to sit there and like rein your ego in a little bit, basically.
Yeah.
Ish, yeah. I mean, the funny bit can be the sort of normally, the first sort of icebreaker is, why are you here? What did you get caught doing? What car do you drive? And you sort of go around the table bit. So that's always entertaining.
Yeah.
But yeah, to be fair, some of the stopping distances and all the stuff that you probably were told once upon a time that you forget, you get reminded of.
Yeah.
So it's a good one to sort of bring you back down if you're going a bit too fast.
So I think I remember Sarah getting a speed awareness course and put it in the diary and then forgot about it.
Oh.
And the morning of it, I think she was on the way to work, which was maybe in Southampton or something like that. And for some reason, it came up on her diary, saying speed awareness. And she had like half an hour to get there and she'd forgotten a driving license. So I had to take the driving license to it. And it's all like, if you don't turn up and you don't have your driving license, you then get all the points and everything.
Yeah,
So it's like,
all kinds of
oh,
default.
shit.
Years and years ago, similar sort of story. Someone else that I live with, so you can guess who. Basically, I can't remember what it was. I booked to go away somewhere for all of us, and basically Ingrid had somehow got herself on this speed awareness course for a thing. Completely forgotten about it. Like we were driving off that morning, and then she suddenly remembered and gone, "Shit, I meant to be there."
Same.
So I've said, this is, I don't know, infinite moment of wisdom. I've just said, look, just pick up the phone. I said, give them an excuse. I'm sure they'll just bump it onto the next one. Like, they must be quite reasonable, surely. Like, that's how the world works. Like, just. Anyway, long story short, she picked up the phone, and the first thing that's gone through her head is I'm really, really sorry, I can't make it. There's a death in the family. To which they've turned around and gone, absolutely no problem. We can rearrange that. Just pop a photocopy of the death certificate in the post, and we'll rearrange it for you.
No way. She's sharpening the knife, just looking around for the weak link. No. Yeah.
So,
Nearly got himself murdered.
so,
How did you wriggle out of that one then?
I think she took the points.
Yeah.
I think there was no other option, when you've been caught out.
Yeah.
So don't lie either.
Don't lie either. No way. Savage.
Oh, dear.
That is savage. Andy.
I'll be all night otherwise.
Yeah. Oh, shall I go on to? So it's probably still 1987. Yeah, it wasn't.
Probably a month on from the moment.
No, it was a little bit longer. Now got my driving license. Passed first time, of course, after the cancellation.
We should touch on that after. I'm always intrigued about
How many times?
How many times?
Yeah.
I reckon Lee, it took him a few, but we'll talk about that after.
So I've got my first sort of drive, my car that I actually drove, not the first one that I purchased, because it's in a bit of embarrassment. So that's why I have to justify it. It was a Fiat Strada, which I think we talked about in the first episode.
Yes.
And you worked out what they actually looked like.
Yes.
So I had the stereo in it at that time was your pride and joy, wasn't it? Your car stereo. And it was one that sort of plugged into the dash. It had a little handle on it so you could take it out.
Like a mini suitcase, like a proper heavy,
like a proper suitcase.
The whole thing came out. Yeah.
So this is Croydon. So it was my first sort of year of apprenticeship in engineering, and out at lunchtime to go to not Marks and Spencer's, McDonald's for lunch.
Yeah, now we're talking.
Yeah. Pulled outside Mackie D's in Croydon High Street, and can't close the door on the Fiat Strada. However, I tried to shut it. It won't shut. It just keeps bouncing open. And they're fucking, banging it and it won't shut. So I'm like, shit, I've got to get our lunch. So the only thing of any sort of value in the car is the stereo. So I pull the stereo out of the dashboard, go into McDonald's, get in now McDonald's, come back out, get back in the car. Door works. Excellent. Put the stereo in, start munching on the burger, get surrounded by cop cars again.
What?
Almost like the same sort of scenario. I think we had 2 cop cars, maybe a Metro and a Cavalier and something. Somebody reported this for nicking the bloody stereo out of my own car. So I had to go through the whole bloody story of,
You were there slamming the door.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, that is quality. Did they see the funny side?
I can't remember now.
Oh, mate, that's outrageous.
Yeah.
In one sense, excellent that somebody's reported that, just to be on the safe side sort of thing. But,
Yeah.
I mean, the other thing is, that's
Nicking your own
bonkers,
stereo,
isn't it?
yeah.
That is absolutely
What a waste.
There was clearly a lot more police around in the 80s. They had a lot more time in their hands.
Yeah, definitely. Looking for the little misdemeanors.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
I love how we're still in the 80s as well. Such a long way to go with you, I think there is.
Any theft ones with you?
There is actually, which is a positive story actually. So I don't mind kind of chucking this one in there now. I can't actually remember if I mentioned it on Series 1, Episode 2 or not. But I lived for approximately 12, 13 months in Bristol, in a really, really rough area of Bristol.
I remember you telling me about this.
Yeah, sort of. A friend and I got this place kind of by accident, really.
You thought you had the penthouse, but it was actually the penthouse in the most grottiest area.
Exactly
of
that.
Bristol,
Went and saw it in the dark and whatnot, and it was pretty bad. When we went and saw it again in the day, by which time we've already kind of signed
Put your deposit down.
So yeah, that was kind of that. But yeah, we had a party on the Saturday night and just knocked on all the flat doors and was like, Lee, Jamie, new flat, top floor, come in, have a beer.
Yeah.
Which was absolutely mental now when you look back at it. And
because the area you're in.
Yeah, that was absolute categorically one of the most silliest things you could ever possibly do. But any case, so we had said party. Next day, Jamie and I were both absolutely hanging, so there was absolutely no driving on the agenda, of course. And then it got to 10:30 at night. We were sitting there, he was watching Match of the Day 2, I think he was cooking. And we just heard this noise that was sounded really similar to my car. So we're both like, what the hell? Jumped up, looked out the window. My car's making off down the road. I've gone, oh my God, that's my car. Followed by Jamie going, oh my God, and there's my car. He had an Audi A5 Cabriolet, brand new at the time.
What, they'd stolen both of them?
They'd taken both of them, this gang, whatever. So we watched both of our cars just driving off down the road. We've run onto our roof and we're looking, and Bristol at kind of St Paul's has got a really weird sort of one-way system.
Yeah.
And it really was a bit like Tom and Jerry, whereby 1 minute we saw kind of left to right our cars going from one road to another, and then about 3 roads or blocks back they were then going from right to left. They just got confused with the one-way system. We obviously rang the police and said our cars had been nicked. They'd taken the keys based,ly they'd gone into
from the party.
Yeah, they'd gone into one of our rooms on the party, took the keys. And actually we had our own key plus the spare key to the other car, yeah, because they had to park like one in front of the other. It was always a pain in the bum. So instead of asking for the key, we just did it. Yeah. So they nicked one fob that had 2 keys on, which again is a silly move, isn't it? So the cars were gone. That was it. And I was absolutely devastated. That was my first car, Volkswagen Polo. As I spoke about on that second pod, wheels are more expensive than the car. It had a trick stereo in there, etc., etc. But yeah, that was it. The car was gone. Jamie's car was found about 3 hours later, absolutely caved in. Insurance write-off, actually, as it goes. They've done all sorts of weird stuff, tried to get in through like the back of the roof, the electric hood. Really, really bizarre. My car was missing for 6 days, and I got a phone call, and they said, "We found your car." Now, I was working at Fast Car at the time. I was T-boy. I earned absolutely sod all. So I know for a fact that petrol light would have been on when the car was nicked. So I was looking, super locally in that week, just going out at night, trying to like look in garages and all sorts, because I thought they couldn't have gone far without a jerry can. But I got this really nice call 6 days later. We've found your car. It's just over the other side of Bristol. PCSO, just walking around, recognised the number plate as, flagged up on the system. Yeah. So he's dialed it in and was like, yep, it's reported stolen. It was parked up at the side of the road, not a scratch on it.
Wow.
Nothing missing, everything there, everything intact. The car was locked. So Thoughtful Burger had even locked the car up, and the police said basically what they do is gangs in this scenario, they'll nick the car, they will park it for a week, 10 days, and it'll just see if there's a tracker on it. If there's a tracker on it, the car gets retrieved. They know if there isn't a tracker on it because the car just stays sitting there, and then from there they'll cut it up, break it, or export it, whatever. So I did not have a tracker on that car, so it is by the absolute kind of goodwill and alertness of that Mr. PCSO, who I did meet. And actually, we did an article on him in Fast Car magazine.
Did you?
Yeah, we did. Because I just thought, what a top man, basically. I had a little kind of owner's column similar to what we do in T911 now. And I had a picture of him handing me my keys back, basically. And I think I bought him like a crate of beer or something. Yeah. And just said, yeah, thanks very much. You found my car. So, I was so chuffed for that. And Jamie was fuming because he's obviously lost this lovely car. And I've got my old shit box back, basically. So, yeah.
So, look, stereo, the lot, all there?
Everything was in there, yeah. And genuinely, the wheels were more expensive in the car. It was all brand new audio equipment in there as well. And
I bet you had it insured for about 500 quid as well.
Yeah. Not modified.
Yeah.
What do they used to do? It was not even fire and theft. You could literally have third-party only insurance.
Yeah.
I don't know if it still exists, probably.
No, probably not.
It, literally everything was there. Everything. And as I say, they'd even locked it. So they wanted to nick it that much. Amazing. They didn't want anybody else to take it from them. So, locked it up. All I had to do was get a new
lock change,
new set of keys, a new lock check, 'cause it didn't even have electric locks. Yeah. So simple as that. Job's good and back on the road. Happy days. So, and no more flat parties.
Yeah, in Bristol.
Lucky you.
I don't think I've ever had a car nicked. I had a couple broken into for.
That's because you drive shit cars, Andy.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
I've got quite a comedy theft story. So when actually there's one, we're looking at one in the same room. So when everyone else bought mopeds and scooters and stuff, I thought,
when everybody else,
right, I decided to buy a monkey bike, which obviously, you look a bit ridiculous on, but it kind of fueled my ridiculous collection. And my very first monkey bike got stolen. And I think somebody quite literally put it under their arm and walked off with it.
No, really?
Just proper lifted it.
Yeah. I had a little after school sort of part-time job thing, and I used to park outside and then wheel it in the sort of little garage and then shut it away. And I sort of got a bit lazy, so you kind of some days you would, some days you wouldn't, and sometimes you forget for an hour or two. Yeah. And went to ride my little bike home and it was not there, and I assumed someone was having a wind up, and then a good 20 minutes later I realised they weren't. And
it was picked up and cheesed it.
Yeah, never to be seen again.
And was that insured?
No, that was literally couldn't afford anything. So that was third party only, nothing. So that was literally money down the drain.
You lost it.
No,
it was
savage, absolutely savage.
I think we got another. Have we got one from outside the room?
We have, yes. So Kyle Fortune obviously was on, I think Series 1, was it? End of Series 1?
Yep. Yeah.
Motoring journalist extraordinaire has kindly donated a couple of stories to us that involve fines predominantly.
Fines.
Fines.
These sound like foreign fines.
They are of an international variety.
My next story is of an international variety. That links in nicely.
We'll be up to 1988 by that point.
No, we've advanced quite a long way.
We'll work out the year. We'll have to, kind of decipher what currency you paid in, pre-euro or not. Right, okay then. So here we go. This is Mr. Kyle Fortune. 2 stories, I believe.
Hi guys, you asked for some speeding related stories. Now, I have a couple, both of which relate to the silliness of the existence of a motoring journalist. And the first one was on an Aston Martin trip where I was out driving some new cars out in Palm Springs. Now, I'd been driving the cars quite a lot all day, and I was literally on this sort of slow down drive back to the hotel, and I got pinched by a police cruiser coming down the road towards me as I came round a corner. Not at silly speeds. I mean, he actually only ticketed me for about 4 or 5 miles an hour over the limit, which was fair. I was driving slowly, but it was over the limit, and over the limit means a fine. So he did say that it might not get the ticket, or it might not go through the courthouse, but to phone the number on the ticket in a few months' time to see if I was due anything. I did that, and I distinctly remember being told by via an automated message that I was due $400, which rather aggrieved me. However, I decided, well, you've got to pay these things, because frankly, if you've got one of these things hanging over your record and you go into the States, they'll pull you aside and put you in the county jail until somebody can see you about it. So I thought it wise to pay it. Now, paying it wasn't as easy as you'd hope. You'd just be able to put your debit or credit card details in, but because I'm not a US citizen, I couldn't do that. So I was getting a bit concerned about it, obviously, because I have to travel to the US for work, and I didn't want this thing hanging over me. I've got a mate that lives out in the States, so I got in touch with him and said, would he pay it? And he very kindly said he would. However, that very same day, I got an email from Bentley, of all people, saying that we were going out to Palm Springs for a trip to drive the new Conti GT. Now, it was a completely fortuitous stroke of luck, and I sort of got in touch with the guys and sort of said, well, what way's the route's going? And I did a little bit of Google mapping and found that actually the route, if I was a bit cheeky, I could take a little 20-minute diversion off and go and pay this fine in person. So that's exactly what I did. So long story short, I got a speeding fine in an Aston Martin in Palm Springs, and about 6 months later, I rocked up to the local courthouse with $400 cash in my pocket. And my colleague, who I was driving with, a chap called Steve Moody, laughing hysterically in the car as I strutted up to the courthouse with the cash in my pocket, went in, paid the cashier, walked out, and jumped in a Bentley and drove off. So yeah, speeding fine in an Aston, paid it in a Bentley, and that $400 still hurts, because, you know, for all the silly lifestyle we live, we don't get paid that much. And to this day, my wife still thinks it was only $100. So I hope she's not listening. The other story relating to speeding fines was regarding one that myself and Nicholas Stetcher, an American colleague of mine, got on the Mille Miglia. I was lucky enough to drive it last year in a Mercedes-Benz 300 SL Gullwing. And, you know, it's a Mille Miglia. The Italians have a very, shall we say, relaxed view when it comes to speeding on the Mille Miglia. In fact, a lot of it's positively encouraged, with police escorts making you drive down the wrong side of the road. It's mayhem, frankly. So, you know, it's a few days where you don't really give much thought to the cameras and whatnot. However, about 6 months after the fact, in fact, I think it's probably a bit later than that, I got an email from the Mercedes-Benz Classic team saying that they had been sent a fine. Now, they asked us who was driving. Nick or I couldn't decide who it would have been, so we just decided we'll split the fine down the middle, and we'll take it. And do you know what? For the 3 or 4 days of mayhem, the memories that were created, I think a fine, I think we both paid about £150 each. Was well and truly worth it. And not only that, I've got a lovely picture of a John Fitch inspired 300 SL, so it's a grey car with the 417, very, very memorable livery on the back of his car, or the car we were driving, as a speeding camera picture. So that one's going on the office wall. So that's that one.
Brilliant.
So, yeah. Don't speed, guys. It's not big, it's not clever, but sometimes when you're going to get caught, you know, you just have to bite it. Cheers.
Nice.
At least he got a good picture for his money.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tops, Kyle, tops. He has actually sent me the picture.
Oh, awesome.
We'll ask him with his permission. We'll put it on our Road to Red Line
a cracking
Instagram
picture.
thing.
That's
We'll watermark
awesome.
it as well, because I think Carl's quite proud of that,
Yeah.
and rightly doesn't want anybody else taking that. That's his story. But I mean, that's epic, isn't it? Absolutely
That's
epic.
mega.
And Kyle as well. We'll hope that your wife Nia doesn't listen to Road to Red Line. that little cheeky about the $400 can stay strictly between you and everybody listening. So.
Brilliant.
Excellent. Andy, you said you've got one about fines.
Not fines. A couple of stories on continental Europe.
Oh,
Yeah.
do tell.
It's 2006. This is so. Yeah, a few years on from previous blue light stories. Myself and three mates decided to do a banger rally called Scally Rally.
Excellent.
The rules were you had to buy a car that was less than £100 and 4 days driving across Europe. So started in Calais. Where did we drive to? Is this Cortina? Then down to Monte Carlo, and then down to Milan. I think something like that. We did 2 years in a row, so it all gets a bit confusing.
Yeah.
But actually, two stories from 1 year. First one we were coming down the Col de Turini, so from Turin down to Monte Carlo. Was getting on sort of 6:30, 7 o'clock at night. It's been a long day driving through the mountain passes, and we'd got stuck behind this Berlingo, like an old van, and somebody else that was just cruising down the mountain, and it was sort of a little bit ambly, as it were, and we wanted to crack on. So, but there's no passing places, but amazing road, amazing views, and all of a sudden we had blues and twos behind us, and it was an ambulance. And so we all pulled in, like the 4 cars that were like going down slowly pulled in, and my mate in the passenger seat just shouts, "Use it!" which immediately sparked the imagination that was required to get onto the back bumper of that ambulance.
Yeah.
And the next half an hour was the most amazing drive you could ever imagine. This ambulance driver knew that road like the back of his hand, and he was absolutely caning it. And we were stuck to his bumper. We were in an Audi 100 CS Avant. So this is a 1983 car, 5-cylinder, actually set up really nicely. We'd done quite a bit of work to it, suspension, brakes, had new tyres on it. So it really it went well. And we also had at the time, it was like when the first TomToms were out.
Yeah.
So it's almost like we had pace notes, coming up, and we were just like chasing this ambulance. We did get a flash from a speed camera, but never saw anything from that as we were coming down into Monaco.
Couldn't see behind the ambulance.
It don't count if the lights are on.
But yeah, it was just an epic drive,
How
an
awesome
epic
is that?
moment.
Yeah.
I think somewhere I've got some video of it somewhere. It's probably a bit old and crackly on some little bloody Nokia.
Guys, try and crack that out. That'd be
Yeah,
awesome.
I must try and find it. Yeah.
And a little doff of the cap to the ambulance driver
Oh,
at the end? Or?
yeah. It's still like that road. I haven't been back to that road since. I need to get back to it.
Yeah.
Just to experience that road. I know I won't experience it in quite the most exciting way. So that was the evening driving down into Monte Carlo. Then the next morning, we'd obviously been out in the booze a bit, had a nice meal, etc. Got up, and from what I can remember, we had a challenge. And Monte Carlo being Monte Carlo, there's lots of supercars around, and what you had to do is one of your challenges to get your points for this Scally Rally, see if you could win it at the end, was to photograph your car and as many supercars as you could before you left Monte Carlo. So there's all these shit cars. I think there's nearly 100 shit cars. There are our shit car
Descend on Monaco.
on Monte Carlo. Yeah,
brilliant.
we'd all stayed just outside Monte Carlo in the shit hotels, but then come into Monte Carlo to do this. Yeah. And there's all these shit cars driving around Monte Carlo doing the Grand Prix circuit. I think we've got a video of that as well, actually, which is quite good. Us going around the Monte Carlo circuit. And we see something, a Ferrari F40 or something, on the other side of the road. So we pull across the road, like position the car in the right position, get our photograph with the Ferrari, all that sort of stuff. Excellent. Pull out and go across the road, back onto the right-hand side of the road, as you should be, rather than the left hand that we had been. And this Monte Carlo policeman comes out with his full regalia. He's got the whole lot on. They're proper dressed up, and he's pulls us over. I'm going to try and do a French accent. This is going to be bloody awful.
Go for it.
Bonjour.
Very good.
And he starts going on saying, you have a fine. You have a fine. And mate Pete's driving, and he goes, oh, okay, got a fine. And we're all there going, oh, fuck, it's Monte Carlo.
Yeah.
How much is the bloody fine in Monte Carlo? And then he starts going, you'll have 2 fines because you went over the road twice. And we're like, what's he going on about? We only want to pay 1 bloody fine. 1 fine's going to be enough. And we're absolutely cacking ourselves.
Yeah.
And Pete just almost starts arguing with this Monte Carlo policeman, saying, but I only went across once. And we're just like, shut the fuck up, Pete, shut the fuck up. Just let it happen. Don't get into a slinging match. In the end, we were talking to him for ages, and we finally he's said, okay, we'll take the 2 fines. And he said, don't worry, my wife's English and she comes from Oxford.
Wriggled out of it for that.
and then started to tell us how nice it was in Summertown in Oxford and all sorts of stuff. And we're just like, oh, thank fuck for that. And he lets us go, and we just drive off. No fine.
Really?
But, he absolutely had us, because we were paying, I don't know, a £5,000 fine in our heads. We were just screwed.
Big money,
yeah, the bastard. He had us big time.
Well, you would think, if it's going to be sort of like in parallel with everything else out there being rather extravagant, exuberant, you're spending big money all of a sudden, aren't you, for going across a zigzag or something? That's wicked.
Yeah, brush with the law again in Monte Carlo.
There was just, as a quick one, I was pulled over on the Champs-Élysées in Paris.
Yeah.
And I was with a German photographer. We were in a 991 Gen 1 Turbo, British car I was driving.
Yeah.
Guy's waving and flapping, stands in the road in front of us, pulls us in. He comes up to the window, passenger side window, absolute screaming, looks in, and then it clicks. Didn't see the UK plate, didn't see the steering wheels on the right-hand side. German photographer's on the phone. And he thought he was driving while on the phone. Yeah. And I have to say, my German photographer at the time absolutely hit the roof. He was like really annoyed that his phone call had been interrupted for a start. And then but he literally could not let it go. He was a very boisterous individual anyway. A lot of heat in him. But yeah, he was just like, like screaming at the guy, being like, if you use your eyes, you'll see the steering wheel is in front of him. His hands are outstretched. Mine's up there. It was absolutely brilliant. And the guy very apologetic, and then said to us in English, because obviously he started speaking to us in French, on you go, have a nice day. And we were like, how funny is that? Didn't even realise. Just used to someone on the left-hand side.
They do get it wrong sometimes.
They do get it wrong sometimes, just occasionally. Fine-wise, I think I've had a couple of fines in Europe. One in France. That was last year as well, actually. It was in my own car. What annoyed me about that is they made me download an app to pay through the app, which I thought was,
really?
You'd rather just pay, go online or ring up, pay over the phone.
Yeah, they like to do that on the spot thing, don't
download it. Yeah, but it's, just... you can have my money, but you can't have my memory on my phone, basically. That kind of annoyed me a little bit. But yeah, that was that.
I can't have my memory.
My storage. Yeah, I've not got a lot of storage left. And I can't take pictures of lovely cars if I've got bloody French apps on there for the twice a year I go through their country a little bit over the limit. But, so 2 years ago, yeah, it was. Drove to the Arctic Circle and back, obviously heavily through Norway.
Yeah.
And I got a few fines. They were all really minuscule, it has to be said, because they are extremely strict in Norway. It's a beautiful, beautiful country, beautiful, beautiful roads. I implore everybody to go. But please absolutely respect the speed limits, because if you go a little bit over, they take it very, very seriously, which is fair enough. And actually, I think just for like some sort of context, unless you're in the capital, Oslo, I think the maximum you can do is like 55.
Yeah.
It's super, super kind of conservative. And I just kept getting these fines through all the time. And because I was in a Porsche press car, it kept going to Porsche
Oh,
GP and they
no.
were passing them on. And it kind of became a little bit of a running joke because this was months and months and months down the line. I just
It
kind
was
of
still
kept
popping
getting
in.
these, just kind of
How many did you
trickling
get?
through. Half a dozen, like comfortably. Yeah. But like I say, they were only really small, and it was just kind of discrepancies, just where, I mean, we'd driven in 10 days, 2 weeks, to the Arctic Circle and back. We were pushing the mileage,
Yeah.
5,000 odd miles we did. Long days, super tired, etc. And just times where we probably weren't concentrating rather than us kind of actively taking the mickey. The Norway one was a bit of an interesting one. In Ireland, they've got the M50 toll as well. This one stands out. I took it was a British car over. I think it was my own at the time. Zipping back and forth under the M50 toll, which is similar to Dartford Tunnel here.
Yeah.
Pay by midnight the next day. They took away the toll booth. I was zipping over and about, and I thought, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna. Well, I forgot, should we say? So, any case, got back, never heard anything, and I thought, what an absolute result! This was 2015. UK car, it's not clocked on the camera,
Yeah.
so
Had someone said to you, because you got a
Happy
UK
days.
car, you get away with it? Had someone given you that
I
nod?
just kind of thought, really. I just thought we'll kind of give it a go. But like I said, I forgot anyway. Happy days. Any case, got married over in Ireland. Again, love the country. Think very highly of the country and the people. And so went over, and this was a 991 Gen 2 Turbo S cab. And obviously I thought, well, happy days. I can pick everyone up from the airport. I was ferrying back and forth under this M50 toll like you would not believe. Yeah, basically at some point they kind of realised, no, actually we probably have a lot of people taking the mickey. And I got a good few fines.
Did
for
you?
that.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
and again, it was just like silly ones where it's like you forgot to pay. It was a minimal fine of a couple of euro, but I thought I was being clever and could get away with it, and it turns out I couldn't. So,
At least they didn't backdate the earlier ones.
well, well, like I say, I forgot on that, and couldn't tell you the red, so you'll never find it. That's kind of that. I have got one that wasn't me; it was somebody else. I'm not going to name them and throw them under the bus, but it's quite good. It's in between Christmas and New Year. I'd say 4 or 5 years ago. Local chap was on his way to collect a pizza. He was pulled over. I think he was doing just a little bit above 30 in a 30 zone. So the police officer has nabbed the guy, pulled him over. He's jumped out and having a chat. And he goes, really, really jovial, this guy. Oh, I think you were just going a little bit too fast there. So here we are, sort of at the side of the road. I'm telling you off. What were you doing? And my friend has said, I was just gone out to get a pizza and pick it up, really. Just wanted to get out rather than deliver. He was like, oh, okay, yeah. And he's kind of peering in the window. So my friend said, what pizzas did you go for? Because he said, oh, Domino's, I quite like that, whatever. What pizzas did you go for? What toppings did you go for? So in any case, my friend stand at the side of the road with this police officer who thinks is absolutely nuts, talking about like toppings and crusts on the pizza. And they're getting on like a house on fire. And he's like, I think we're going to be all right. I think it's going to work out. Any case, 5 minutes after they've gone through all this stuff, the guy's just gone, cool, yeah. Well, anyway, I'm going to do ya. My friend was absolutely furious. He said, like, not only are you going to ticket me, we've stood here in the freezing cold on like December the 28th, and you've let my pizza get cold as well. He was like absolutely gutted. But yeah, there's some crackerjacks out there, as we said. So, yeah. Andy, do you want to have a chat?
Wow.
Do we need to talk about it? Do you need a bit of counselling?
I don't. It might have been a friend.
Might have been a friend.
Yeah.
It was a very long time ago, it has to be said.
Yeah, it was a few years ago. Yeah. Been out for a bike ride, mountain bike ride. Curry afterwards.
It's quite hard to break the speed limit on a push bike, isn't it?
Yeah. It's coming along the Upton bypass. Well, it's come up from Wareham. Been cycling out there. Came around onto the Upton bypass, and I had an Audi S4 at the time, and it hadn't been running very well, really sort of rough. And I thought, I'll just give it a little bit of a stretch along the Upton bypass, try and work out what's going wrong with it. So I sort of got up to sort of 80, 85, something like that. And it was still feeling a bit dodgy. And then this car came up, whizzing up behind me. And I was just a bit red-ragged, bull. Oh, somebody wants a bit of fun. So, and also thought, I'll give the car a bit more of a razz to see if we can work out what 'cause it should be quite a fast car, really, an S4 V8 4.2. So I gave it more. Along the Upton bypasses, sort of go up through underneath the Upton Bridge, come down to the 50 speed limit. As soon as I hit the 50 speed limit, slow right down 250, and then just come along to the roundabout. And as I do that, the blue lights go on. How fast have I been going?
Immediately, you're sort of like your probably pants have fallen through on themselves.
Yeah,
have they? Yeah, so
proper.
you kind of knew. Yeah.
So yeah, it pulls me to the side, and guy gets out of the car, the driver, and he's like young and he's excited. He's
got one.
He's got more. Yeah, he's got one, and
Oh no.
it was just like nightmare. They showed me their footage, and they'd been doing 139 to catch me up. And I'm just like, oh, God, drive home. So almost like, going to tears when I get home.
Yeah.
When I see Sarah.
Bang
my
to
wife.
rights, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh, God. I spoke to some mates, and they've got a mate that they know that's used Kerry Katona and Harry Redknapp's solicitor. Mm-hmm. They said he's the man to see. So I went to see him. He's a real character. Went to see him, and he just suggested the best thing to do is not to actually go to court, is for him to go to court for you. Cost you a bit of money. It was like 1,500 quid to pay. But it basically it'd sort it out. He managed to get it down to 108 miles an hour. And I think they must have just had it not calibrated or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it went into the local paper. Guy gets caught at 139 miles an hour. So big headline.
Yeah.
Oh,
you made the
goodness.
paper.
Yeah, made the paper and all that sort of shit.
Famous.
How did you feel about it? Because obviously as we said at the top, we don't condone kind of silly driving. And actually, to be fair, Andy, like you've driven my car, I've driven Joe's car. We went out for a day, and like you're just a completely like fine and normal driver, isn't it?
Yeah, I just had a bit of a red mist
Yeah.
moment, especially where he came up behind me and sort of goaded me, I guess.
So did they let you off on that basis, or did they?
I never actually spoke to my solicitor and found out exactly how he got it sorted.
But that was it. That was the last of it. You didn't have.
I paid a fine and I had 56-day ban.
Oh, 50. Oh, you did get a ban.
Yeah, got a ban. Yeah,
Only 56 days. It's only a
Yeah.
couple of months then.
yeah. No, he managed to bring it down. I thought I was going to get 12 months. I mean,
Yeah.
you could even get
jail time.
jail time for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, well, a bit scary. So
Yeah,
don't do it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I guess that's a bit of a sobering story in the
Well,
end.
it is what it is. There's a time and a place in there for speed, and this is why we all have track days now. And
Yeah.
like I say, genuinely, because you're sitting in front of me, I think you are a safe driver. I would not describe you as reckless in any way, shape, or form. I think it's important to make that clear. It was just a bit of a moment of madness, wasn't it? Really.
Yeah.
But, how do you feel about it retrospectively, Andy? Like,
I'm a bit ashamed.
yeah, yeah. Well, do you know what? Fair play in that case for coming on a very public platform and admitting it, mate, and kind of talking about it, like in all seriousness. Yeah, like fair play because. As you
Well,
say,
I think we have
all learnt from it.
I think most people have, one way or another, if they're really honest, have probably been there in some shape or form. Yeah, everyone sort of pushed the pedal a bit.
Moment of madness,
bit
yeah.
too far in the moment, and a lot of us get away with it, and some don't. And I think that's I just actually it does bring me back to a few years ago. It's more recent, but we're still talking years rather than months. I think you might have been there, Lee, actually, talking about the Upton bypass, and there was a faster driving little group of us that used to go out for the morning drives and things. And there was, for whatever reason, there was a whole host of GT cars. I think I had my GT4, so light blue GT4. I think there was 997 GT3, there was a big turbo. I'm sure you were in some Larry Press car of some description, and then someone was there in a little cab who, in their infinite wisdom, for some reason decided to pull the phone out and record everyone going past for their Instagram. Which
oh my God!
And this was which is a really stupid thing to do. If you're driving a car, especially now, they've just changed the rules, haven't they? If you touch your phone, it's you're in trouble. So to pull your phone out and it was a fairly innocent action. Just didn't really think it through in the moment. Anyway, so the person at the front got the phone out on record. Everyone's really hit the gas, go steaming past him off this slip road. And everyone's really gone a little bit faster than they should have done. And anyway, someone's obviously clocked this car on the other side, and so someone's just sort of slowed down slightly, and a couple of other guys have gone steaming on past. Next thing, everyone slowed right down, camera's still rolling, and this police car just rolls really slowly next to everyone, giving it the old waggy fingers like, slow down, boys. To be fair, amazingly didn't get pulled, but the whole thing is on camera somewhere, and that was quite a sobering moment to slow down, I think.
It's the moral of the whole story, isn't it?
It's difficult, isn't it? And this is why I think track days are so popular, because it is the only place to kind of really test not just your Porsche but you know, public road isn't really the one. I get kind of quite funny about it, and like Joe knows historically, I get clucky about it. It's difficult with a journalist because you have to test these cars, and ultimately there's not too much you can do with a kind of a Porsche of any description at kind of south of 70 mile an hour. It's kind of difficult, but at the same time you have a duty to other road users to be safe, to be diligent, and to not take the mickey. So as a journalist, it's a really kind of tricky place to sit in, really. But I think it just comes down to kind of, you end up kind of knowing the product, knowing the car, and that sort of stuff. And with a Porsche anyway, it's not about straight line speed. It's why the tacho's in the middle of the clocks, isn't it? It's not how fast you go, it's how you get there. Yeah. And I think that's where kind of your role as a journalist is to test things, but I do get funny about it. I mean, with everybody I know, it is, you lose your license, it absolutely affects your job. But for me, my license is my job.
Absolutely.
So it's kind of, that's where I kind of sit on it, But you should be careful anyway. Like I say, the track days are so accessible now, aren't they? I mean, there's so many track days. Joe, you're on a track day every other week at the moment, so it's just testament to how many of them there are out there. That's the place to
I think it really is as well. Well, talking about track days, just chuck it in there while we're talking about it. But Cadwell last week was...
Oh, yeah, how was that?
Brilliant.
Really?
I tell you what, if someone's looking for a bit of a... I mean, it's narrow and it's quite small, so it's probably the closest thing I reckon you get to feeling like you're on the road, but you're on a track. And they call it the sort of, the mini ring and all that sort of business, don't they? But
I've done it on a bike, and it was tight on a bike. I can imagine what it is in a car.
Really? Two up down some of those straights, sort of nipping past people is, it's interesting. But really, really, really cool track.
The gradient changes are just amazing, aren't they?
I mean, they built it in like a valley. So you sort of, you're down one side, you're up the other, you're back down the other side, loads of squiggly bits in between. I mean, it's bonkers. Whoever thought that up is, they'd had a few wines the night before and all right, we'll design Cadwell. But what an absolute cracking track. Yeah. Highly, highly recommend it. Worth the journey. I mean, actually, and it was a bit of a jaunt to get there, but well worth it. So if you want to sort of, and to be honest, maximum speed, back straight, you're only not that far over 100. You're not, it's not like the big tracks where you're sort of 130, 140 and it's all happening very quickly. Yeah. It's a lot, everything happens that bit slower.
Yeah. What, Joe, you've obviously done a lot of track days, especially this year and last year in that Cayman. Give me your top 3 UK tracks. Doesn't have to be in any order per se.
I think that's a difficult question because I think it's different tracks for different days and even different cars, and I think that's something we've realised. Big tracks like Silverstone, great. Yeah. Our little Cayman, not runs out of steam, but some of the
starts getting a bit breathy.
Yeah, I think some of the sort of slightly bigger engine, taller gear cars, it just suits them better. Yeah. So I think. Yeah, I mean, having done Cadwell was brilliant fun. I mean, I could do that every day of the week. Yeah. It is a bit of a slog to get there for us. Obviously, we're 5.5 hours away, whatever it is. So that's the downside. Which, when you put your whole day together, it takes some of the shine off it. But once you're there and you're doing it, brilliant. Yeah. Difficult one. I enjoy Goodwood actually. I really enjoy Goodwood. I think there's a weird thing you pull into Goodwood, and I think there's an aura about the place. Yeah. Which I think is quite special. So I'd probably, Cadwell, Silverstone, Goodwood. Between those 3, I really enjoy those.
Tidy, good mix in there, I'd say.
Yeah, very very different. And we've done Castle Coombe quite a bit, I think, which is enjoyable. I don't know, the more you do it, you sort of get more used to it. That's quite, that's an enjoyable track, I think. It's not too far from home. But the other ones are all very different. But definitely different. But that's the nice thing with track days, isn't it? Every track's different, and it's you can sort of tour around and do as many as you can get your hands on.
Yeah.
We plan to do a bit of an episode, don't we, on track days?
I think we need to. I think, but we need to coincide it with a track day. I think that's the plan.
And maybe try and bring somebody on from a track day organiser or something like that. Might be good.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that's a good
to
shout.
sort of give us the lowdown. So I've only done a couple. I've done one bike track day and one car track day, which was many years ago, but sort of go through the basics of a track day, what to expect.
Would you roll the old 993 on the track for a session?
I would, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
okay.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Not right now, because it's got dodgy tyres, of course.
Well, yeah. Maybe some new rubber then.
Yeah.
How about, now that you've cling filmed the old Little Irish?
Cling filled it. Yeah, without doubt. I was really tempted for Cadwell, as you said. I was a little bit nervous. It is narrow, isn't it?
Yeah, but
Nürburgring
I think
of
you would have been.
England.
I think you would have been fine. It's only. I think it's maximum 30 cars on the tracks. There's loads of space.
Yeah. I think it's just for me. I've not done a track day actually this year, I don't think. And I just would rather do one track day just to get back into it, where it's kind of not as kind of intense.
more familiar.
I watched a lap, an onboard lap on YouTube, and I thought, I don't know, more to lose than gain up there. That yes, it's wrapped in Clingfield now, but it's not bubble wrapped. You know what I mean? It's going to be bouncing off the barriers and stuff. So yeah, maybe next time. To be honest, maybe next time. But yeah, without a doubt, I'm itching to do a track day in Little Irish before Christmas, without a doubt.
Well, let's see if we can find a date. Because if we could,
Yeah.
that would be. That'd be really good fun. I think.
I tell you what, let's try and nail a date. We'll kind of let people know what we're going to do, and then if any Road to Redline listeners would like to join us, providing there's space on the day.
Well, that might be the
absolutely
other
come along.
issue at the moment. So I mean, track days,
pretty full,
since
aren't
post lockdown have been absolutely mobbed. I mean, they're loads of them, but they're putting on extra dates whenever they can because it's all of the organisers, all of the tracks.
Try and catch up.
Really, really stacked out, busy.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's see if we can find one with a bit of space and
Even if there's a couple of spare cars plus us, that'd be amazing, wouldn't it?
Oh
I
god,
need to
yeah.
get some rubber first, though, because
Hurry up then.
What
I did
happened
have
to these
some.
wheels? You went to
Well,
Liverpool to
I
pick
did.
some wheels
I
up.
went all the way to the Wirral.
Yeah.
So 4 hours each way to pick them up. Was quite pleased with them. Thought they were all good. Got home a few days later, had a good look at them, and they're E28s, which are magnesium centre race wheels. Beautiful wheel, but they do have a reputation for cracking. And I was like, yeah, it's internet talking. It's forum chat. It's all that, and that it'll be fine. So yeah, put a couple of them on the car, just having a close look, and one of the front wheels had 3 cracks on 3 of the spokes.
No.
So I'm just like, I just spent $2,000 on these set of wheels. I sent the guy that I bought them off of a message saying that I just found some cracks, and he amazingly said, I'll handle it in one of 2 ways: give you a full refund or give you a partial refund so that you can get the wheel centre sorted. I had a good look round them. They're not as good as I kind of wanted.
Yeah.
There's a few little marks and stuff, so I decided to go for the full refund. So got them shipped back up there. Didn't drive them all the way. Yeah, I actually found a great shipping company if anybody needs one for moving wheels around.
Go for it.
You don't need to package them up. So they actually turn up. The guy that brings them is probably the guy that takes them all the way to the other place. They come with blankets, wrap them all up, and look after them.
Nice.
And that was £72, I think it was £76.
Set.
Which just amazing for the service. Because if you go to somebody like UPS or whoever like that,
fortune, yeah.
I think you're probably paying maybe £50, but then you've got to pay for insurance because they're just going to chuck them around, and you're not sure they're going to get there in how many pieces they're going to get there. So yeah, if anybody needs a top tip for that, so yeah, still looking for wheels.
So you're back shopping again.
Yeah, back shopping. Think I might have found something.
Ooh, nice.
So yeah, just finalising the deal.
Yeah. Those wheels that you've got on at the moment, I know I've said this to you before, away from the pod.
Oh, what, the cup?
I think they look spectacular, man.
You like
I really
those?
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, just where they're slightly bigger as well.
It's funny, a set of those had just come up for sale, and I was
because they're friends you're borrowing at the moment.
yeah,
isn't
they're
it?
matte gusset.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, these little winter wheels.
Okay.
Yeah, they do look good on the 993, but maybe a little bit. Don't know. Not quite what I want to go.
Do you just want something a bit different?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
okay. On the subject of learning stuff, we're about to be learned, which obviously doesn't make any sense, but we'd like to pass this on to you at home as well. If you're listening, one of our 10 questions actually, isn't it? So most podcast episodes, when we have a guest on and we ask our 10 questions, we ask said person to foosh or not to foosh.
We've been told, haven't we?
We have been told, and we've been told by a German, so he knows what he's talking about. So, where is it? Ollie from Munich. Thank you, Ollie, for sending this in a message. I enjoy listening to your podcast. Thank you very much. I'm very much a Porsche person myself and have similar talks with my mates here. One thing I stumbled about in some episodes you are talking about is a strange thing. You say, how do you pronounce it, Lee?
Fuchs, you meant to now. Oh, foosh is how we've been
that's
saying
it.
for
You've been saying,
eternity.
yeah. In context, I was able to figure out what you guys meant. I don't want to be a smart ass about it, but acknowledge that some might find the word spoken out offensive in that term. So the classic wheel company is actually pronounced Fuchs, F-O-O-C-K-S. It's a way that he's spelt it. So there you go. You've been schooled.
We've all been schooled there, yes, because that has quite the enigma, I have to say. Like, over the years, I've heard so many different pronunciations of that wheel.
Yeah.
And I did a video where I was talking about the Fuchs wheels on my car. Put it up on YouTube, and again, I was schooled by a bunch of Germans that said it's pronounced Fuchs because it's the German word for fox.
Excellent. And the other thing you've been schooled on as well is Taycan or Taycan or...
Just me or you as well?
I think, everybody.
We've all got it wrong collectively.
Yeah. Let me just play this.
So this is where this is an exclusive. We can reveal what it's actually pronounced.
How to pronounce it.
Taycan.
Yeah.
Taycan.
There we go.
Okay.
So none of your Taycan.
Did Taycan, did that not go in our list of various ways to say
I
it?
think we were saying, I can't remember now.
Taycan.
I've never, ever heard anybody pronounce it like that, I have to say. So that is a genuine world to red line, world exclusive.
World to red line.
World to red line exclusive.
It's getting late.
You say Taycan.
Taycan.
Very good, very good.
Yeah.
I like
You
that.
did the accent with it.
Taycan.
Taycan.
Very good. So we
Does anybody that listens to our podcast drive a Taycan yet? That's what we'd like to know, I think, as well.
we know one person that does. Maybe we'll have get him on for a bit of a chat.
Wondering whether there is a bit of a Taycan listener base or not.
Yeah, can you convince us, sort of thing? To is it? Can you genuinely live with it?
We'll give some feedback, I think, because we keep getting mixed reports on them of what's it like to actually live with one.
Actually live with it. Yeah, we lived with it for a few days, didn't we?
Yeah.
I know somebody that's getting a Mamba. Is it Mamba?
I thought it was
green?
Taycan. Oh,
No,
right.
the colour.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah.
Mamba
okay.
green one.
Oh, very good.
Yeah. So she's waiting for delivery, I think.
Oh, that's quite cool.
Yeah. So
Maybe we have a chat
maybe
when
we'll
it comes on. Yeah. So that's probably about it for this episode, I think.
I think so. Yeah.
It is.
What should we say? Don't be a dick on the roads.
Exactly that.
If you are a dick, get a good solicitor. That's